now it's my pleasure to welcome someone up on stage who often has quite a controversial thought or thought-provoking topic, and that is CEO of Dstny, Daan. Daan, have you come? Round of applause, please.
I even made some notes. Good morning, or are a bit far from lunch. For people who don't know me, I'm Daan Wever. I'm the founder CEO of Dstny. We are a European player, roughly 6 million users, having a lot of big telcos, tier 1 providers as a customer. And I will not do like call it a sponsor pitch where I'm gonna sell Dstny and how great we are. I'm gonna try to give you a little bit my view about AI and what is the impact and how do I look myself to life. I don't know, in my start, and it was about like voice is the new OS and the operating system, and you start to think about the fact that like the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, often, and at least in this room I'm convinced, voice was like a communication channel. And if you see what's happening today, if you see what's happening with all the agents, if you see how fast AI is evolving, I'm fully convinced that voice will becoming the primary interface between your employees, businesses, and technology. And you need to think about, in the past, your operating system when it was replaced in how an operating system transformed computing. And I think we, as providers in the voice space, we probably can leverage quite significant on this part. Now, if you look back, and to be a little bit provocative, I heard already a few times this morning, workflows. Do we really believe that we're gonna orchestrate a workflow? That's what I say here is like the left one. 2 years ago, when we were looking to AI, we were thinking if, then, that, and we're going to bring some LLMs and some agents in type of a flow. But the whole world, there is a completely paradigm shift going on. The world will change, and what will happen is AI, we will give them the agents, because everyone is speaking about agentic. I really dare to say that most of our technology companies, we all screaming that we are agentic, but I don't see a lot of agentic use cases today, even in our industry popping up. But what will happen, and there I'm very clear, is if you go to a multi-agent environment, the only thing of the workflow is that AI has a goal. That will happen, and I've seen it myself. I'll come afterwards, where they will choose their own path. And I believe that voice, and I will bring it back, will still be a native capability in this evolution. And my view is this will be a break in the industry. There is a lot about, does AI replacing SaaS? And we have seen stock markets going down, there's a lot of uncertainty, etc. My view is that like, I'm not convinced myself that SaaS will be fully eaten by AI. But what's happening today is that like AI is sitting on top of your software. A chatbot, and we always spoke about UI, an agent who is consuming on top of your SaaS, does he still need to have a subscription? So you need to question, and so what's happening in my opinion, and there is a lot to do around, is like how we're gonna work in how to say it, like in Dutch, where you see like a subscription will be not consumed anymore, and it will probably becoming partly obsolete. And so that's where I see a risk. Do I see that like software of SaaS companies is the competition? And the question is the competition our biggest fear, or is standing still our biggest fear? I think we have an opportunity, we have a lot of customers, and we need to see that we move on. Now, we always, and speaking with a lot of people, and when you speak with a lot of entrepreneurs, and when they think about AI, it's always about like cost cutting. But do you believe that like in fact of cost cutting, in fact of AI tool, of AI technology, that this will completely build an entire new digital workforce? And this workforce, they don't have a salary. We just will consume some, they will have no sleep and they will have no desk. And so for me, one of the good things is, and that's an important one out of research, we know that in an agentic world, 35% of the communication will be voice dominant in our space. Personally, I was quite surprised when it was research done by BCG that this came out in the number. If you look, like 65% is text and 35% is still voice. Now, that means that like looking to this the question, if you look to this part, is like who gonna win and who gonna buy? The question is not anymore today that companies will not start to consume AI bots, but the question is who gonna do this? And there was also research done where we say like service providers, if telcos, big telco service providers don't act, they predict that there will be a 40% decline, knowing that for years UCaaS was like a stagnant, was an ARPU protection on their existing connectivity layer, 4 years, and now we need to see how we can monetize on top of it. The good thing is, and I think Matt put 45, but probably put enterprise, if you look at the SMB market, 80% of the SMBs will start to consume AI, of AI agents, through an existing relationship. And I think that's a huge opportunity looking to us because we have a lot of customers, we have a huge relationship, but we also know once they are starting to consume something, it's quite sticky and it will be difficult to replace this. So there is a momentum, and the momentum is not tomorrow, the momentum is today, and it's really about quarters. And yeah, we see a market with a huge bunch of startups, and hundreds, could be thousands, but are coming competitors from all the different angles. But the good thing that we have, most of them, they don't have this relationship. They need to come from scratch. That doesn't mean if you look to your employee that like today, your next best employee, the whole question is AI is not anymore a tool. It's more, and this is more HR, it's not about technology. Do we really believe that like an SMB owner needs to know how an LLM works? No, he will be super interested to understand that like his agent will consume, will have, what I say, it doesn't need a salary, nor a sleep, nor a desk. It doesn't need to have that subscription. And even within my own company, what is happening, we start to report our workforce between human and agents. And you will have a workforce where you will have humans and agents next to each other. Now, looking to this part is, and I don't know if there are a few people from Sweden here. I think Lucy is a Swedish. Epiminds built Lucy, and Lucy, what they are doing is like they have built like a full AI, marketing department in agents. And we are speaking about a voice agent, and that voice agent is like one agent. But multi-agent means that all these voice agents start to speak, and you can become like one department. We know that, and the question is, who going to deliver the infrastructure to build this type of framework? This is happening today. I spoke with a CEO in the US, who brought his company from 500 back to 200 people, and has today 200 people, 100 agents running the company, 300 people less, and his entire workforce is seen as agents and human. And we know that the growth in agents is going faster as the growth in new employees. So we need to deal with this part in the industry. My belief is that this will happen in 2 years, 2 budget cycles, not more. And that's what I see even within my own company, where we replaced the full first-line support by a few agents, and I can tell you the customer feedback, the satisfaction is going up. And I had a problem with my mobile. I called like a few weeks ago. I say I don't bypass the normal process. So I called my own customer support, and in 4 minutes I had full support. There was an experience was extremely positive. The day after, I need to be in contact with BNP Paribas. And that voice bot was still a little bit tricky. Even a company of that size, you need to wait 7 seconds, and then it tells you, I don't understand you. And then your bot, yeah, but I will transfer you to a human 28 minutes in the queue. So BNP Paribas and voice agents. Now, if you go about like an organization, will change dramatically. This is for me the organization of what we will call the 20th century. That's the pure hierarchy type of where like in a multi-agent environment, we as people, we will orchestrate and we will have agents who are doing a lot of work, and you have a completely different type of organization. Now, if you bring all this back to what is our opportunity, and I think there's a huge opportunity for companies like us, we know that like, and that's BCG and IDC are telling us, voice AI agent market will be a 12 billion market in 2029. That means we don't have a lot of time to act, because every agent that will be rolled out to a customer will be consumed, will be sticky, and it will be tough to bring them back to your platform. Second, when I told it, 80% of the SMBs, the small medium, purchase from existing vendor relationships. I think it's a huge opportunity, because a lot of big telcos, service providers, they have their direct relationship. We know that 35% of all AI agents will stay voice dominant, and 65% are text dominant, and 40% of the AI agent projects today are predicted to fail without telephony infra. That's our opportunity, that's the mode where we are in today. I think the gap is clear, because like this is the gap. Every business has customers where you lose, where you didn't, there was callers hang up, there were like SMB inbounds, follow-up calls were made, and today with AI and agentic this can be solved. Not yesterday, not in the future, but even today you can solve this super fast if you do it right. What does it mean then from a use case perspective? And I will not go over too long. So here you see that like a lot of the use cases we see is around still very generic, with like companion agents, in-call transcription, so you see a lot of monetization coming on. For example, in the Netherlands and a few other countries within Dstny, we are selling more today AI revenue as the UCaaS revenue. So we have pivoted as from December last year in making more money out of new AI subscriptions as our existing core UCaaS technology. That's what's happening. And to make it a point, but like we also know that like the autonomous real-time zone is the graveyard of AI pilots. So we as Dstny, we see that a lot of these, because you see a lot of startups, but a lot of these AI agents, they are completely fail. And I think the opportunity for companies like us is this part. We have the identity wall, the presence wall, the latency wall, and the sovereignty wall. And that's, I think there it starts to be complex. It's super easy to add voice into a bot. It's quite difficult when you start to bring AI into voice, where all this needs to be responded, and I think there for us is a huge opportunity. What we have done as Dstny, we invested, and that's my commercial pitch. We started already 10 years ago with really investing on this level, where we say like the difference will be not made in the agent part. The difference is made how can we funnel this call controller independent, so we can run this on a BroadSoft solution, we can run this on our own technology, and drive on top of this, with all these barriers, new innovation, super fast, and that's what we are doing within Dstny. That's our strategy. Our strategy is build this around these four topics. And that means for service providers, ARPU lifts and discussions, we see it already today, go up 10 times. You see like deals where 30%, the big telcos believe that 30% of their customers can start to consume these services at a much higher ARPU, and it gives a lot of point. So voila, to end, my belief is the first movers who are winning. For Dstny, if there are telcos or interested to really look the layer what we have done, we have still 3 pilot slots open where we can start to support you in driving innovation even on top of existing voice technology. And for the rest, I think this is the way we can speak about the future, but let's try to predict it ourselves. Thank you.